Today is Friday, November 27th, 2020, and today I'm going to talk about 33. And first, before I get into it, I want to talk about this Freemasonry symbol, because it's not something that I really hear people explain very often, but I think it's very simple. And so I guess first I'll talk about the 33 aspect of it. If you had to answer the question of what's the 33rd letter, okay, I know there's only 26 letters, so a reasonable thing, if you had to say what the 33rd letter is, well, you would just start back over at the beginning and keep going. So like A would be 27, B would be 28. Well, G is the 7th letter, and 26 plus 7 is 33. So if you just end the alphabet but then go back to A, G is the 33rd letter in that way. But I don't really think that's what the G represents here, although it's just an added bonus of why Freemasons might be obsessed with the letter G. But I think here it represents something different, so I'm going to get into that. The two symbols shown, the square and the compass, have to do with creation. If you closely read Genesis and other parts of the Bible, you should know that the earth is flat and unmoving. In the beginning, God compassed the face of the waters and created the earth. That is why the Freemasons use the symbolism of the square. So the bottom part is the square, and it represents the flat face of the waters. And they have the compass above it because God drew a circle upon the face of the waters. So that's what this represents. It's all there right in front of you. The square represents the flat face of the waters. And then you could even say probably that the G stands for God. God drew a circle upon the face of the waters. And the Freemasons say great architect. That could be what they want the G to represent. The thing about symbolism is you just have to know that those in control, they're obsessed with symbolism, and they'll make up their own little things. There's certain rules and certain general things apply, but they do just make up their own meanings a lot of times for what these things represent. I think that the most obvious meaning of the G here is the 7, which should just show you right there how important gematria is to these people. I think the G here most likely represents 7 because there are 7 days of creation. Now, I'm sure people ascribe more meanings to that, and that's kind of how symbolism works. You'll get different people assigning different meanings to the same thing. But usually there's, I think, one best answer, one most obvious thing that it represents. So what this video is, I'll try to not spend too much time, but a joint effort between me and a friend, and I guess I can just rant about this really quickly. It's really unfortunate that you don't just open up a computer and right away there's stuff, hey, let's get programming. You would think in a world that made sense, that's how it would work. You would open up a computer and there would be a bunch of, hey, let's get started on programming. But most of that stuff is very obscured. People guard software like it's the most precious thing ever. People don't want to share code, usually, and to me it's just very strange. And I don't know, I don't try to make sense of it. I think that they just don't want people using this powerful tool. They don't want people to be able to do things like, so what we did, a friend and I wrote a simple gematria calculator, and my friend took a huge list of common words and put it in there and just collected all the words that equal 33. Great idea. Maybe people have done this before, but it's something that I'm just surprised that it took me until now to do it. And yeah, so if you want that file, if you want the text file, I'll post a link in the description, and you'll just have to make sense of the output yourself. But it's pretty self-explanatory, and there's going to be a lot of strange words in there, but you just kind of have to sift through it and find the ones that stick out. Anyways, I'm going to read through. These are some interesting words that equal 33 in both Pythagorean and Chaldean gematria. I'll just read them off and say a few things if I feel like it. Affords, ball gowns, boatmaster. So master is just a big buzzword. You're not supposed to call anybody master on this earth. So that's why the Masons are obsessed. Master Masons, they're obsessed with saying master all the time. Bounties, burnet, bulwark, bushwhack, conduits, corn stalks. There's a lot of corn stalk imagery that happens. Crossbeams, crossbow, crustacean, cut grasses, defrost, delegates, discount, embedded, essentials, fearful. Forecast is a big word. And yeah, it's 33 in the 2 standard gematrias. Embedded, essentials, fearful. Oh wait, I already did those. Frosted, funerals, furnaces, gondolas, guacamole. That was a strange one. Guacamole is 33 in Pythagorean and Chaldean. Impulses, Yugoslavs, lysosome, lounged, manholes, marmosets, and you see with words like that, it's like they have a lot of sodomy words. Menstrual, mentalists. So this is one that stuck out to me, mentalists. So mentalist sticks out to me because it's one of those words where you hear it a lot and you're like, what the heck? Like, why that word? Where did that word come from? And so whenever I see examples like that, where it's a strange word and it's one that you see semi-frequently in the media, it's like, oh, that's why they like the word mentalist, because the gematria value of it. Menthol, monsters, mustard. I think I have a typo there. Notched, I think is what it's supposed to say. Oblongata. Medulla oblongata. Observes. Offers. Interesting that the word offer is 33 in Chaldean and Pythagorean, just because it has so many connections with giving offerings to God and, sacrifices. Outboard, overeats, overfat, oversight, payoff, poppers, peyotes, petunias. Quaffed, I think, is another big, oh, I'm not surprised that that one comes up 33, because you almost only ever see people say quaffed or use quaff when it comes to potions. That's the only time I've ever seen the word quaff used. It's a word for drinking something, but I only ever see it involved with potions and like magic themed. Refunds, refused, reluctant, respects, rudeness, salvageable, sandstorms, scepters, and specters. Anagram of one another. Interesting. Scepters, specters, solitude, Somerset, taproot, tubercles, venture, and lastly, 33 in Pythagorean and Chaldean, watchmen. I'm not surprised to see that watchmen is a double 33 letter or word. So like I said, I'll post in the description a link to just a giant text file full of thousands of words that equal 33, but I just think it's interesting to kind of skim through it and look for the big ones that pop out that are 33. And you can just pause this and look at it if you want. Maybe I'll skim through and point them out. I always like to point out that like police and pizza are 33. Magic is 33 in unreduced. KKK. App, APP. The word the. Kali. Leche. Thought leche was interesting. Seed. Oh, like TM, like trademark, is 33. And then the flip of that is MT. Like mountains get abbreviated as that. There are a bunch of interesting ones. LBS, pounds. Ever wonder why is the abbreviation for pounds LBS? Well, LBS equals 33. Phi and lambda, keel, a nautical term. I thought it was funny that Kang with a K was 33. Yeah, a lot of interesting ones. Oh, ambrosia. See, just words like this that come up, and you're like, oh, I'm not surprised to see that being a 33 word. Ambrosia. Achilles, absinthe, abracadabra with a K is 33. Let's see if there are any good Chaldean ones. I always like to bring up ampersand, because in my opinion, Chaldean is very old, and I see a lot of very old words, or words that probably are very old, that are 33 in Chaldean, like calculator, ampersand, abbreviated, abduction, absentee. We hear about absentee ballot. Acapella, oh gosh. Ascension is an idea people like to bring up. Kind of interesting, accidentals is a musical term. Accidentals, antibacterial, we hear that a lot. Acclamation, that's another word that people like to bring up. Acquisition, activation. And you see that these are all A's, meaning that if you go to that file, there are just like thousands and thousands of words. This table would be crazy long if I actually went through the whole list and picked all the ones that kind of stick out to me. Aerocraft. Aesthetics is 33 in Chaldean. Alcoholic. Algorithms. I really do think that computers have existed in the past in in the old world before the flood, possibly. Altarpiece, allegories. So yeah. Apparently there's this meme, the numbers, Mason. Apparently there's this meme in Call of Duty or something. The numbers, Mason, what do they mean? So these are just taken from some emails. Reminds me of the word QP. So one of the things that came up as equaling 33 is QP. The letter Q and then the letter P equals 33. Reminds me of the word Cupid, like Cupid doll, which I guess is spelled like this. And then the Cupid doll, very interesting. The Cupid dolls were this huge sensation. Beanie Babies, I'm pretty sure, equals 33. These huge toy sensations very frequently equal 33. Pikachu is 33. I guess, so there were so many pop culture reference for the Cupid dolls, which is just strange. Why would something like that have so many references? And it's because QP is 33. In the video game Harvester, the player must win a Cupid doll to proceed through the lodge. And there's a play on words, Cupid doll, but it's Q, the letter Q, the letter P. It's a hidden 33 coding. And to proceed through the lodge, they call it a lodge. I think they like PQ or QP because it's balanced. The most balanced way to make 33 using two numbers is 16 and 17. And it's part of the alphabet too. LMNO, P, Q, R, S. Somebody pointed out too to me that a way that they learn the alphabet is they told them, make sure you put a pause between P and Q. And so that's just an interesting thing. There's a pause between P and Q when you say the alphabet. LMNOP, pause, QRS. So PQ is a quick and balanced way to 33 using two adjacent letters. Mind your P's and Q's. Strange expression. We'll talk about that at the very end. Another reason they might like PQ, it's a mirror image. So here are just more emails. I saw a playthrough of Harvester on YouTube. Weird, disturbing FMV and pre-rendered 3D point-and-click adventure game. Significant part of the game was taking orders from the lodge in order to join. Some of the tasks were scratching a car, stealing a barber's pole, burning down a restaurant. Often in fiction, there'd be people talking about something saying, oh, how terrible, while the person who did it is right next to them, and they are completely unaware. It definitely is a meme in the media of... I'll say they often take it one step further, and it's like the person leading the investigation is a lot of times the guilty person. A lot of the why would anyone do this destructive things might be tasks assigned by Freemason lodges in order to move up. We hear about this with gangs too, like the Bloods and the Crips. You hear that they get ordered to go do something bad and in order to move up ranks. I just remembered, in Harvester, if you don't join the lodge in time, the player character gets beheaded by the lodge. Oh, sounds like end times, people that refuse the mark. And you find out every single character in the game was part of the lodge. This is how they work. They really do have the numbers. It's a big club. Some of them wearing paper-thin disguises. Characters were weirdly insistent on you joining the lodge too. They added a lot of confusion to make it difficult to see as a write what you know thing though. Because a lot of times they write what they know. They write about, there's a reason that Harry Potter is such a big thing, and it talks about witchcraft and alchemy, and it's because that's what they practice. Like the beheading characters just refer as a blood drive. The ending is it was all a simulation thing, general extreme weirdness, and red herrings. And the simulation plot twist was the whole exercise was training the player character to be a serial killer or something. The real-life Mason Lodge is training people to be murderers. I remember fear-mongering controlled opposition talking about smart guillotines. I wouldn't be surprised if they have remote-controlled guillotines or something for their karma obsession. I just pushed a button. I didn't actually hurt anyone. They could even do that throw a stone and have the rebound make contact thing. Throw a stone so the rebound lands on the button. If you don't know anything about how they believe about karma and stuff, and how not the Torah, the really evil and satanic, obvious satanic one, the Talmud. In the Talmud, they will sit there and argue about Well, what if I throw a stone against a wall that ricochets and then it hits somebody in the head and kills them? Am I at fault? And so I think that's what's being referenced here is they'll probably do something stupid where there's like a guillotine and it's like button operated so that they can say, well, all I did was press a button. You know, it just so happened that the guillotine fell and killed that person. Their alleged logic is very strange sometimes. And then goes on to talk about the Milgram experiment. So apparently in this video game, the player character's name was Steve Mason. And so yeah, the meme about the numbers Mason, what do they mean? It was from Call of Duty Black Ops 2010. And also it's pointed out, so there's a bunch of video games that are battle royale genre. So I guess this isn't necessarily 33, but more blatant number coding. All of those battle royale ideas come from this Japanese thing, Battle Royale, and it was a book, and I guess the Battle Royale book is 666 pages long, and it was published in 1999, and 999 is inverted 666. And I've said this before that I think in end times, that's like predictive programming for what they want. The beast system, it's going to be like Battle Royale. I think that's at least what they want it to be like. And the Americanized version of this is Hunger Games. Hunger Games is just a big rip of Battle Royale and Americanizing it, and Jennifer Lawrence giving that dude a big part. So these are what the Cupid dolls look like, in case you didn't know. And it's just funny. I thought this title was ridiculous. Meet the hardcore feminist who created the Cupid doll. And I just think the whole feminism thing is ridiculous. They like to pretend like women have been oppressed, but I think it's basically been the same for all. It's always been the same. Women have always been able to do stuff. It's just that a lot of times in this inverted world, like, you know, the whole Lady Macbeth thing, women who are really men they like to hide in the shadows and pull the strings. They don't want to be the face of these things. So they stick their beard, Free Martin, in front of the operation, but the MTF have been just pulling the strings behind. They don't want to be in the spotlight. Anyways, I just think it's funny that people think that feminism is this new thing, but it's like women really have always been able to do stuff. This is the early 1900s, and a woman came up with this huge, the Cupid doll thing. Mind your P's and Q's. Remember, P and Q equals 33. And it's just really interesting that P and Q, this expression, mind your P's and Q's, it's like nobody really knows where it comes from, and nobody really knows what the P and the Q actually stand for. I always heard that it's please and thank Q's, because, you know, thank Q. But I don't think that's it. I think that's just something somebody came up with. But it's like there's a dozen stories for what it might mean, and none of them really seem like a good reason. So it might just be this whole 33 thing. And anyways, here's a poem by Charles Churchill. And I'm assuming they want chair and mayor to rhyme in this, so it probably had a crazy accent going on. On all occasions, next the chair, he stands for service of the mayor, and to instruct him how to use his A's and B's and P's and Q's. The conclusion must be that this is the true origin. And with the DBQP69, there's a lot of symmetries going on, inversions, reflections. Out of the favorite numbers of them for 1 through 9, they do really love the numbers 3, obviously, and then 6 and 9 also are very favored, which notice P and Q are kind of like 6 and 9, but flipped. There's all sorts of explanations. This is the one that I heard a lot. Please and thank Q's. Apparently pints, there's just going to be a bunch of different scenarios where people can pretend that's the reason. Oh, pints and quarts. Mind your pints and quarts. Some French thing. Mind your pied and Q. Mind your feet and wings while you're dancing. Sailors to mind their P's and Q's, their pea coat and ponytail. So yeah, none of these sound reasonable. It's probably a 33 thing. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. And again, I will link in the description. It is just this giant text file with a bunch of things that equal 33. And you might find it useful. God bless everyone.